Welcome back to another video for HarborFinancialOnline.com. Today I'm going to be talking about cashing out your 401k and the penalties that will apply when you file your tax return, and going through all those items and trying to sort this out for you. So I'm going to get the video started and walk through this with you guys. So the penalties that apply basically is you're going to get a mandatory 10% penalty for withdrawing a 401k, making a lump sum distribution before the age requirement, which is 59 and a half. You'll get this 10%, which they're going to tack right on to that total amount. So if you are withdrawing, $20,000, 10% of that's going to come right off that to a penalty. So you're going to lose 10% of the 20,000. So it's a pretty big penalty. And then the IRS requires your employer to do a mandatory 20% withholding on that amount. So the withholding, though, you can, when you prepare your return, you can get some of that back, but the penalty, you're not going to get anything back. But a lot of tax filers, if they're in a low income bracket, they're going to get a lot of this 20% back, but you're just not going to get any of the 10% back. Now, when you get the distribution, the main thing, you can't just make a distribution because you want it. It has to be a hardship distribution. And there's different areas, which I'm going to cover in the next slide, how you get it. But you can't just go ask for the distribution and get your 401k cashed out. There has to be a specific reason for getting it. You can use our online calculator at HarborFinancialOnline.com if you want to see what kinds of penalties and the withdrawal amounts, how it's going to affect you, and what that number is going to be. So you can check out the site at any point during this video just to see. But I'm going to continue with the presentation, and we're going to cover some more areas of the 401k distributions and the penalties. Like I touched on, you have to have a reason for getting this money, for getting the 401k. It can be situations such as a home foreclosure, cost of a funeral, a natural disaster, hurricane, fire, something like that. It has to be a specific reason that you have to explain why you need the money, and your employer will have you actually fill out a form, and you'll have to add a couple sentences in that form, the reason. If you roll over any distribution you get within 60 days of getting that money from the 401k, it won't be taxable. So you have 60 days to do that, and you won't get the 10% penalty or the withholding amount. You can normally, from your employer, you can borrow against your 401k, and you can get terms of 5 years to borrow that money against your 401k with no penalties. So this can be a good option because you can normally get a good interest rate on borrowing from the 401k rather than going to a bank. So I do recommend checking that out. And I want to talk again about the amount that gets withheld from your employer. They're going to withhold at 20%, but that doesn't mean you're losing 20% in that. They're just making an estimate that you're in a 20% tax bracket, which really most people aren't. So you're going to get a lot of that back. If you're in a 10% tax bracket, you're going to get half of that back. So you hear a lot of people out there say, "Oh, you get all these penalties, withheld amounts," and yeah, it does total 30%, but you're going to get part of that 20% back. So keep that in mind. Rolling over the 401k, like I said, you'll have no penalties when you make a distribution from your 401k. You have 60 days to put it into another plan, an IRA or another 401k. This happens a lot when you're switching employers and you want to get that money out of the 401k from your past employer. So again, you have 60 days to get this done. This is all reported on the 4792, which is attached to your Form 1040. And when you do the tax return online, it brings up that form and it fills it all out for you. So it's made pretty simple when you do the return online. When you make this distribution from your 401k, your employer is going to send you a 1099-R. Now you'll get that in the mail, and they are required to get it to you by January 31st. So make sure that you have it by that date, and if not, contact your employer to get that, because you'll have to have that form to fill it out for your taxes. So just make sure you have the 1099-R from the employer if you call and ask them. I'm going to take you to our website real quick, let you see the website we have and how we allow you to prepare the return online and use our online calculator. So I'm going to walk through with you real quick how to use that, and click on the link here, harborfinancialonline.com. Here you can see on our site we have a lot of good information on taxes. On the left side here, how to get more deductions and more credits, and it's all a way to increase your refund. And when it comes to making these distributions, I would recommend you use the estimator that we have, and you can see, an idea of how much tax you're going to owe. I'm clicking through the links here to show you how you would use it. And what you would do is you would click on here, on this little image here, or you're going to click on estimate your refund. We'll click on the image. Let this bring up the calculator. It's loading right now. This is going to give you an idea of how much tax you're going to owe in that distribution, because it's going to add to your normal tax that you're used to each year when you file your taxes. So these boxes here are going to make this easy for you. You just fill in the pension distributions, any amount that you're getting from that 401k in here. And let's do a quick example for you. Say you have a $2,000 withdrawal from your 401k. That's going to automatically calculate over here what the tax is going to be and what tax rate you're going to be in. And you can see right down here it says marginal tax rate of 10%. And remember, I said the employer is going to guess that you're in a 20% rate. That's why they withhold 20%. So you may only be in 10% and you're going to get half of that back. So you can easily use this estimator to figure out what you're going to owe for that 401k distribution, and see where you fall and what your refund might be. So anyways, if you have any questions on this area of tax, please send me an email at expert@harborfinancialonline.com, and I'll help you any way I can as far as figuring out what the tax is going to be and what your refund might be with the distribution. So anyways, thank you for checking out the video, and hopefully you check out some of our future videos.